We live in a world that tells us we need others to validate our dreams, approve our choices, and hold our hand through every challenge. Society whispers that we're incomplete without constant connection, that solitude is loneliness, that walking alone means we've somehow failed. But what if I told you that the greatest figures in history, not just on battlefields, but in life, discovered their true strength only when they learned to stand completely alone? Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote in his private journal, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This was a man ruling the Roman Empire, surrounded by thousands, yet he understood that real strength comes from within, from the ability to face yourself without distractions, without others' opinions drowning out your inner voice. Think about it. Every major breakthrough in your life happened when you stopped waiting for permission and started forging your own path. Every moment of true growth came when you faced your fears alone, chose courage over comfort, and decided your vision matters more than someone else's. The wise Stoic doesn't walk alone because they reject people. They walk alone because they know true connection with others is only possible after you've learned to connect with yourself. This isn't about being cold or detached. It's about becoming so deeply rooted in your values, so clear in your purpose, that you give from a place of abundance, not need. When you master the art of walking alone, you don't become lonely. You become free. Free from the exhausting game of seeking validation. Free from the prison of others' expectations. Free to love and serve while staying true to yourself. The path of the wise Stoic isn't easy, but it's the only path that leads to true fulfillment. Today, we're diving into 7 powerful principles that will transform how you view solitude, approach challenges, and build unshakable inner strength. If this resonates with you, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more. Don't skip any part of this video. Each principle builds on the last, and you'll need all 7 to fully grasp the path of the wise Stoic. Leave this affirmation in the comments. I walk alone, I rise alone, I triumph alone.
Number 1. Embrace sacred solitude. The first principle of the wise Stoic is to see solitude not as a punishment, but as a sacred space. Most people fear being alone because they've never learned to enjoy their own company. They fill every quiet moment with noise, scrolling social media, calling friends, consuming anything to avoid the discomfort of facing themselves. But here's what they miss. In that discomfort lies your greatest treasure. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, didn't see forced solitude as suffering. He used it to develop ideas that have shaped humanity for millennia. He wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." His isolation wasn't emptiness, it was fertile ground where wisdom grew. When you're truly alone, something magical happens. The noise of others' opinions fades, the pressure to perform, please, or pretend dissolves. You're left with the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are beneath the masks. For most, that's terrifying because their identity is built on external validation. But for the wise Stoic, it's liberation. When was the last time you sat in complete silence with yourself for more than 10 minutes? No phone, no music, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. If that sounds unbearable, you're where most people are, afraid of your own mind. But your mind is your most powerful tool, and like any tool, it needs care, attention, and training. Sacred solitude is where you forge your moral compass. When there's no one to impress, judge, or perform for, you discover what you truly believe, what you value, and what you're made of. In those quiet moments, you hear the whisper of your deepest wisdom, the guidance drowned out by the chaos of constant connection. The wise Stoic schedules sacred solitude like a marathon runner plans training. They fiercely protect this time because they know everything else, relationships, work, impact on the world, flows from the clarity and strength gained in these moments. Start small. 5 minutes of intentional solitude each morning. No agenda, no productivity goals. Just sit with yourself and observe your thoughts without judgment. When you're comfortable in your own company, increase the time. Take walks alone without podcasts or music. Eat in silence. Occasionally, travel solo. You'll find that solitude isn't empty, it's full of possibility. It's where ideas are born, where courage is cultivated, where you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. The wise Stoic knows that while others fight for external territory, the real battle, the one that defines everything else, happens in the quiet moments when you're alone with your soul.
Number 2. Your opinion of me is none of my business. The second principle that sets the wise Stoic apart is a revolutionary mindset. What others think of you is entirely out of your control and therefore irrelevant to your path. Most people spend their lives chained to others' opinions. They make decisions based on what their parents will think, what friends will say, or how strangers on social media might judge them. The wise Stoic breaks these invisible chains. Eleanor Roosevelt, though not a Stoic philosopher, captured this truth perfectly. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. But let's go deeper. Epictetus, a former slave turned one of history's most influential teachers, taught that we don't suffer from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. When someone criticizes you, insults you, or disapproves of your choices, they're not harming you, they're revealing something about themselves. Here's the harsh truth. Most people judging your life choices can't handle their own. The friend who doubts your dreams is likely given up on theirs. The relative criticizing your path is often projecting their fears and regrets onto you. Their opinion isn't about you, it's about their pain, their limitations, their unrealized potential. The wise Stoic develops what I call immunity to others' opinions. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant or dismissing genuine feedback. It means cultivating the wisdom to distinguish constructive advice from those who truly care about your growth, from the background noise of those unsettled by your freedom. Think back to a time when someone's disapproval really got to you. Now ask yourself, is this person living the life I want? Do they embody the qualities I respect? Are they speaking from love and wisdom, or from fear and limitation? Most times you'll realize their opinion carries no weight because it comes from a place you don't want to be. The wise Stoic also knows that seeking approval is a losing game because it's never enough. You could please 99 people, but the disapproval of one will still haunt you. You could achieve everything society demands, and there'll still be someone ready to tear it down. The only opinion that truly matters is the one you have about yourself when you look in the mirror at the end of the day. This principle takes daily practice. Every time you catch yourself about to make a decision based on what others might think, pause. Ask, what would I do if no one was watching? What choice aligns with my values regardless of others' reactions? Then do it. Start small. Wear what you love, even if others might not get it. Share an idea that matters to you, even if it's unpopular. Pursue a hobby that brings you joy, even if it seems odd to others. Every act of authentic living, free from others' opinions, strengthens your freedom.
Number 3. The power of self-sufficiency. The third principle of the wise Stoic is understanding that self-sufficiency isn't selfishness. It's the foundation of authentic service to others. We live in a culture that confuses independence with isolation, self-sufficiency with ego. But the truth is, someone who can stand on their own is the one who can truly lift others up. You can't give what you don't have, and you can't lead where you haven't been willing to go alone. Ralph Waldo Emerson, inspired by Stoic philosophy, wrote, "Nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of principles." The wise Stoic knows that relying on others for emotional stability, self-worth, or basic needs makes you vulnerable. Not because others are unreliable, but because you're giving your power away. Think of the airplane safety instruction. Put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. That's not selfishness, it's wisdom. If you pass out trying to help someone else first, now two people are in danger instead of one. This principle applies to all of life. When you develop the skills, mindset, and inner resources to handle your own challenges, you become a source of strength for others, not a burden. Self-sufficiency means cultivating what I call emotional sovereignty, the ability to process your feelings, solve your problems, and maintain peace of mind without constantly needing rescue, validation, or fixing from others. It doesn't mean never asking for help. It means asking from a place of strength, not desperation. A self-sufficient person approaches relationships differently. Instead of seeking someone to complete them, they seek someone to complement them. Instead of looking to others to fill their voids, they work to become whole on their own. This creates relationships built on mutual growth and genuine love, not neediness or codependency. In practice, self-sufficiency means building skills across life's domains. Learn to cook nourishing meals for yourself. Get a handle on basic financial management. Develop emotional regulation techniques. Build physical strength and endurance, and cultivate intellectual curiosity. The more competent you become at meeting your core needs, the more freedom you gain to pursue what truly matters. But there's a deeper level, spiritual self-sufficiency. This means developing your own relationship with meaning, purpose, and truth. Don't outsource your spiritual life to others' interpretations. Read ancient texts yourself. Wrestle with the big questions and build your own understanding of what makes life worth living. The wise Stoic knows that self-sufficiency is, ultimately, taking full responsibility for your life's experience. No more blaming circumstances, others, or bad luck for your unhappiness. No more waiting for someone else to save you, motivate you, or give you permission to live fully. When you take full responsibility for your life, you also claim full power over it. Start building self-sufficiency today. Identify one area where you're overly reliant on others. Maybe it's emotional support, practical skills, or decision-making. Take one small step toward independence in that area. The goal isn't to need no one, it's to choose connection from strength, not desperation.
Number 4. Failure is your personal university. The fourth principle defining the wise Stoic is that they don't just accept failure, they welcome it, study it, and extract every lesson it offers. While others run from failure, make excuses, or pretend it doesn't affect them, the wise Stoic sits with their failures and asks the most important question: what is this trying to teach me? Thomas Edison, when asked about his 1,000 failed attempts to invent the light bulb, famously said, "I haven't failed 1,000 times. I've found 1,000 ways that don't work." This isn't just positive thinking. It's the mindset of someone who understands that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the raw material of success. But here's what most motivational speakers won't tell you. This process happens in solitude. When you fail publicly, people offer sympathy, advice, or criticism, but the real work, the deep exploration of what went wrong and why, happens in private. It's in those quiet moments when you strip away ego, excuses, and external noise, and honestly analyze your choices, preparations, and execution. The wise Stoic creates what I call a failure audit. After every significant setback, they spend time alone analyzing 3 things. What did I control that I could have done differently? What was beyond my control that I need to accept? What can I learn to be stronger for the next attempt? This isn't self-punishment, it's self-education. Marcus Aurelius faced military defeats, political betrayals, and personal losses, yet in his private reflections he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He understood that obstacles aren't barriers, they're the curriculum.
Every failure is a tailored course teaching you exactly what you need to know for the next level. Most people avoid this process because it's uncomfortable. It requires admitting mistakes, weaknesses, and feeling the pain of unmet expectations. But the wise Stoic knows comfort is the enemy of growth. They'd rather face the temporary discomfort of honest self-reflection than the lasting discomfort of repeating the same mistakes. Here's the paradox. The more you're willing to fail alone, the less likely you are to fail at what truly matters. When you process your failures in solitude, extract lessons, and make changes, you become anti-fragile, stronger because of stress, not despite it. A failure audit also reveals patterns. Maybe you consistently underestimate the time needed for projects. Maybe you avoid tough conversations until they spiral into crises. Maybe you make decisions based on emotions rather than logic. These patterns become clear only in honest solitude. Start your failure practice today. When something doesn't go as planned, resist the urge to seek comfort or distraction right away. Instead, carve out time alone to process the experience. Write down what factors were in my control, what assumptions were wrong, what would I do differently, what strength did this experience build in me that I didn't have before. Remember, every expert in any field is just someone who's made more mistakes than beginners and learned from each one. Your failures aren't proof you're not meant for success. They're proof you're in the game. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Every failure is my personal lesson in becoming unstoppable.
Number 5. Build your inner citadel. The fifth principle of the wise Stoic is creating what ancient philosophers called an inner citadel, a fortress of mental strength that remains unshaken no matter the external storms. This isn't about building walls to shut others out. It's about creating a space within yourself that no one can invade, corrupt, or destroy without your permission. Epictetus, one of history's greatest teachers, understood this better than most. He wrote, "No one can harm you without your consent." Think about the profound truth in those words. Physical harm can be done to your body, but your inner citadel, your values, your character, your peace of mind, remains under your protection or is surrendered by you. Building this inner citadel requires understanding the Stoic distinction between impressions and judgments. An impression is what happens to you. Someone criticizes your work, you lose money in an investment, a relationship ends, or you face health challenges. These impressions are often beyond your control, but your judgment about them, what they mean, how they affect your worth, what you do next, is entirely within the walls of your citadel. Most people have no citadel at all. They're wide open to every gust of opinion, every shift in circumstances, every emotional storm. When someone speaks rudely, their whole day is ruined. When plans fall apart, they spiral into despair. When others succeed, they feel diminished. They've handed the keys to their inner peace to anyone willing to take them. The wise Stoic citadel has multiple layers of defense. The outer wall is perspective, the ability to see current problems in the context of your entire life, human history, and the fleeting nature of all things. When someone insults you, perspective reminds you their words reveal their character, not yours. When you face a setback, perspective shows you that this too shall pass. The second layer is principles, a clear set of values that guide your decisions no matter the external pressure. These aren't rigid rules imposed by others, but deeply considered beliefs about what makes life worth living. When you know what you stand for, no one can make you fall for anything. The core of your citadel is what I call an unconquerable identity. The understanding that you are not your circumstances, roles, possessions, or even your thoughts and feelings. You are the observer of all these, the consciousness experiencing them. This core can't be touched by external events because it exists independently of them. Building this citadel is daily work. Every time you choose your response over reacting automatically, you reinforce the walls. Every time you act according to your values despite external pressure, you deepen the foundation. Every time you find peace in chaos, you expand the inner sanctuary. The citadel also has windows, openings that let you connect with others and serve the world, but on your terms, not theirs. The wise Stoic isn't isolated, they're sovereign. They're fully engaged in life while maintaining inner autonomy. Here's what's powerful about this inner citadel. The stronger it becomes, the more generous you can be with others. When you don't have to constantly defend your emotional territory, you have energy to help others build their own citadels. When you're not threatened by others' success, you can genuinely celebrate it. When you don't depend on others' approval, you can give honest feedback that fosters their growth. Start building your citadel today. Identify one area where you're too emotionally dependent on external circumstances. Maybe your mood hinges on others' opinions, or your self-worth on achievements. Practice maintaining inner peace in that area, no matter what. Remember, everyone faces storms in life. The question isn't whether you'll encounter hardship, but whether you've built a citadel strong enough to weather it, while preserving your values, peace, and ability to serve others.
Number 6. The courage to disappoint others. The sixth principle of the wise Stoic, perhaps the hardest for most, is the willingness to disappoint others to stay true to yourself. This isn't about being cruel or careless. It's about understanding that trying to please everyone is not only impossible, but a betrayal of your authentic self that ultimately serves no one. Aristotle noted, "To avoid criticism, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing." The wise Stoic rejects this path of invisibility. They understand that living authentically means some people will be disappointed by your choices, disagree with your values, or be upset by your boundaries. They've accepted this reality because they know the alternative is worse, a life of pretense that satisfies no one, including yourself. Most people fear disappointing others because they confuse being liked with being respected, being agreeable with being valuable. They say yes when they mean no, chase others' goals, and maintain relationships that drain their energy, all because they can't bear the thought of someone being upset. But here's the paradox. People respect you more when you have clear boundaries than when you have none. The wise Stoic knows that disappointment is often a sign you're making the right choice. When you choose your values over others' expectations, some will be disappointed. When you follow your authentic path instead of the one others want for you, disappointment is inevitable. When you set healthy boundaries instead of being endlessly available, those who relied on your compliance will be disappointed. This principle requires what I call strategic disappointment, consciously choosing to disappoint some people to show up authentically for the people and purposes that truly matter. You can't give your best to everyone, so you must choose where to invest your energy, time, and emotional resources. Consider a parent who insists their child pursue a career they don't want. The child faces a choice: disappoint the parent by following their own path, or disappoint themselves by living someone else's dream. The wise Stoic chooses to disappoint the parent because they understand living inauthentically disappoints everyone in the long run, including the parent who wanted their child's happiness. The courage to disappoint others applies to small daily interactions too. It's saying no to invitations when you need solitude. It's refusing to engage in gossip, even if it could make you more popular. It's holding up your standards, even if others think you're too picky or rigid. Every authentic choice strengthens your courage. But this principle comes with responsibility. The wise Stoic doesn't disappoint others thoughtlessly or cruelly. They communicate their boundaries clearly and kindly, acknowledging others' feelings while holding their ground. They distinguish between disappointing others' expectations and disrespecting the person. There's also wisdom in choosing your battles. You can't fight every expectation or stand against every demand. The wise Stoic picks which hills to die on, situations where compromising their values would harm their integrity or derail their path. In everything else, they find ways to be respectful while staying true to themselves. The deepest truth of this principle is that the people who truly love you want you to be authentic, even if your authenticity disappoints them sometimes. They'd rather know the real you and occasionally disagree with your choices than love a fake version of you built to please them. Start practicing this courage in small ways. The next time someone asks you to do something that doesn't align with your values or priorities, practice a firm but kind no. Notice that the world doesn't collapse when you disappoint someone. In fact, you may find your relationships become more honest and meaningful when people know where you truly stand. The wise Stoic knows that a life spent trying to avoid all disappointment is a life that disappoints the most important person, you.
Number 7. Victory through self-mastery. The seventh and final principle of the wise Stoic is understanding that the only victory that truly matters is the victory over yourself. While the world obsesses over defeating others, accumulating more, or earning external recognition, the wise Stoic knows the greatest conquest is mastering your mind, emotions, and impulses. This is a victory no one can take from you because it's entirely within your control. Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher, captured this truth perfectly. He who conquers others is strong. He who conquers himself is mighty. The wise Stoic embodies this might not through force or aggression, but through the quiet power of self-discipline, emotional regulation, and conscious choice. Self-mastery isn't about suppressing your humanity or becoming an emotionless robot. It's about becoming the conscious director of your inner experience, not its helpless victim. It's the difference between being led by your emotions and using them as information. It's the difference between being controlled by your thoughts and learning to observe them with detachment. Every day offers countless opportunities for this inner victory. When someone cuts you off in traffic, do you react with anger or choose your response? When you face criticism, do you immediately defend or attack? Or do you pause and consider what might be useful in the feedback? When you're tempted to procrastinate on important work, do you give in automatically or act in line with your long-term interests? These moments may seem small, but they're where self-mastery is built. Every time you choose your response over reacting automatically, you strengthen what the Stoics called the ruling faculty, your capacity for conscious choice. Every victory over an impulse, every moment of chosen patience, every decision to act from wisdom rather than emotion builds the ultimate form of personal power. The wise Stoic understands that external victories are often hollow if achieved at the cost of inner defeat. Someone who achieves great success while being controlled by anger, fear, or ego hasn't truly won anything. They've merely rearranged external circumstances while remaining internally enslaved. But someone who maintains their peace, acts with integrity, and consciously chooses their responses has achieved something no external force can diminish. Self-mastery also means managing your relationship with desire. It doesn't mean eliminating all desires or becoming passionless. It means distinguishing between preferences and attachments, healthy ambitions and desperate needs. The wise Stoic can want something without being controlled by that desire.
they can work toward goals without being devastated if those goals aren't met. This principle ties together everything we've discussed. Sacred solitude gives you space to know yourself. Independence from others' opinions frees you to act authentically. Self-sufficiency provides the foundation for conscious choice. Lessons from failure build wisdom. Daily practice strengthens your inner citadel. Internal validation eliminates external dependencies. Detachment creates emotional freedom. Your inner citadel protects your autonomy. The courage to disappoint others preserves your integrity. All these principles serve the ultimate goal, becoming the master of your own experience.
When you achieve this mastery, you walk alone not because you're antisocial, but because you're self-sufficient. You rise alone not because you're selfish, but because you're strong enough to lift others. You triumph alone not because you don't care about others, but because your victory is internal and therefore unconquerable. Start your journey to self-mastery today. Notice one pattern of automatic reaction in your life and practice choosing your response instead. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am the master of my mind, my emotions, and my destiny. The path forward. The path of the wise Stoic isn't easy, but it's the only path to true freedom. In a world that teaches dependence, you've chosen independence. In a culture that demands conformity, you've chosen authenticity. Where others seek external validation, you've built internal strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Now you have 7 principles to think like a sage, act like a philosopher, and live like someone who knows true strength comes from within. Remember, walking alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means being free. Rising alone doesn't mean being selfish. It means being strong enough to serve others. Triumphing alone doesn't mean not caring about others. It means your victory is so deeply rooted in character that no external force can take it away. The world needs more people who've done the inner work, who can stand in their truth without needing others' permission, who can love without attachment and serve without expectation. The world needs more wise Stoics. If this message hit home, smash that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, drop your favorite principle in the comments, and hit subscribe for more ancient wisdom to transform modern life. Leave this final affirmation in the comments. I walk the path of the wise Stoic, alone, strong, and free. Your journey to inner mastery starts now. Let's make it happen.